guys were available when I came along from trying to finish high school and find something to do, find a college or what have you, because when I came along, I didn't have that at all. I don't know if Bob Grant is here. Bob will be up later. Bob is one of the athletes here, and Reggie Berry. We were teammates with the San Diego Chargers. Who's the guy from Germany? The athlete. Okay. Congratulations. My name is Joe Sweet. I finished and went to college at Tennessee State University. Graduated in Graduated in 1971. I was drafted by the Los Angeles Rams in that year. But before I even get to that, and I'm trying to think where should I start, because I have a kind of very interesting background. But you're talking about the young students and talking to them and trying to help them learn the mental aspect of becoming, I would say, a champion. Absolutely. The best student that you can become, the best person. And of course, we have our parents who, in my case, my mom went to the 8th grade, and my dad went to the 3rd grade. So I didn't have really any influence as it relates to getting an education. But one thing they put emphasis on was make sure that you go farther than we went. Make sure you focus on your education no matter what it is that you're trying to do. But son, you need an education. So in doing so, I tried to put as much effort in becoming a good student. During that time, of course, I would say the fun stuff on campus in high school would be being on the football team or basketball team. For the girls, being a cheerleader or something like that, because they seem to get all the benefits. So what I decided to do is, first of all, is try to be the student athlete that you spoke of. And upon finishing high school, the letters didn't come. I got one letter, and it was from Florida A&M University. But at that time, if you were from Florida and you were in the state of Florida and you were going, you only had, your option was a black school. In the state of Florida, although we had other colleges like Bethune-Cookman, but Florida A&M, that was the place to be. So I was excited. I was happy, you know. But about a month before I was supposed to report to training camp or school, but you know, before school starts, you have to work out and make sure the coaches pick you right before they tell you that you need to go to Bethune-Cookman, you know. So, but as it turned out, they actually said to me that the letter said, "Thanks very much. We were very interested in you, but we still want you to come to Florida A&M, but we want you to try out for the team, but we'll help you with books. We feel that you can make this team because we consider you a good athlete at the beginning." So, in taking the test, various tests that the coaches, well, not the coaches, but your counselors. And speaking of counseling, some counselors, I understand there's a big need today for counseling. But what my counselor actually convinced me to take all of the various tests prior to finishing high school. So I took a test, and he determined that my better grades, my aptitude, that it was more in the sciences. So we started talking about schools. And so I decided to apply to different schools, and Tennessee State was one of the schools I applied to. So I chose not to go to Florida A&M and went to Tennessee State and walked on, because I was going to go to Meharry, which is right up the street in Nashville, Tennessee. So I walked on at Tennessee State. And Tennessee State was undefeated before I went there, and we were undefeated my first year. Now, prior to going to Tennessee State, I ran across a good friend of mine. I was working in the summer. And there's a school in Florida. It was called Bartow Union Academy. These guys won at everything. So I happened to be working with the guy that summer, and he was asking me, "Man, where are you going to school?" So I told him I was going to go to Tennessee State. Tennessee State? What do you mean? Do you know they were undefeated last year? I said, "Well, I heard they were." He said, "Man, listen, you better go someplace where you can play." I'm in South Carolina State. You might consider coming here. But man, what position do you play? I told him, I said, I played some defensive end, and I'm an end. I catch the ball. He said, what's your speed? What's your 40? I said, well, I really don't know, but I'm kind of fast. He said, man, the quarterback is faster than you are. Do you know, have you ever heard of Elder Dickey? So this guy did all he could to convince me to go to a smaller school, someplace where I possibly could compete. But as you both have said, you gotta know what you want. You gotta know where you want to go and where you want to get it. And I really didn't know, because I didn't have an advisor, a true advisor. I did have a counselor who I thought was a big help, because I had taken the test, and the test, we took the ACT. So the score that I had on the ACT was good enough for me to get into Tennessee State. So when I went out for the football team and everything worked out, I just want you to know these guys had recruited the very best athletes they could get from all the black schools. But during this, because in '66, Florida was not, you didn't go to any of the white schools in the state of Florida. And many states around the country, black players just they were not recruiting us. So, in going to Tennessee State, it worked out great. And in competing with all of the top athletes from Texas, Ohio, Mississippi, all around the country, when it was time to get the full scholarship, I was on a full scholarship. I had beaten out a guy who had caught like 40 touchdowns his senior year from Memphis. Another guy from, we had the state champion from Ohio, he was there. We had Joe Turkey Jones, who's the brother of Charlie Taylor of the Washington Redskins. I'm playing with Claude Humphrey, Super Nat Nolan Smith. Elder Dickey was the first black quarterback drafted in the NFL with the Oakland Raiders. In the history of the draft, he was the first. And so I just want to give you a little background about that. And the fact that when we try and do things, we can't allow people to tell us what we can't do, or what we shouldn't do, or where we should go.